Welcome to Global Nexus. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. Last week, the Supreme Court stunned Washington and the nation by blocking a major Trump administration policy, one that had been at the center of heated political debate for months. The policy, if allowed to proceed, would have deported thousands of migrants without giving them a chance to plead their case in court or even have a basic hearing. Instead of the expected rubber stamp, the justices issued a rare, pointed order that not only blocked the policy, but also openly questioned the legal foundation of the Department of Justice's argument, signaling deep skepticism. This wasn't just a defeat for the administration. It was a public rebuke, delivered in unusually direct language that left little doubt about the court's disapproval. For years, the Trump DOJ had relied on the court's emergency docket to fast-track controversial policies, often bypassing lower courts and receiving little explanation from the justices. This time, however, the court broke its silence. The sudden reversal sent shockwaves through the Capitol, forcing legal analysts, lawmakers, and even seasoned court watchers to reconsider the Supreme Court's willingness to act as a check on executive power. The majority's opinion was unusually forceful, suggesting the DOJ had overstepped its authority and that the justices would no longer tolerate such aggressive legal maneuvers without proper scrutiny. Critics of the administration saw new hope that the judiciary might reassert its independence, while supporters of the policy warned of judicial overreach and political bias. The decision has reset the legal and political landscape, raising urgent questions about whether this signals a new era of confrontation between the branches of government, or simply a momentary pause in a long-running battle. Is this a one-off, or the start of a more assertive Supreme Court willing to challenge the executive branch? Only time will tell, but for now, Washington is on notice. To understand the impact of the court's decision, you need to know how Trump's DOJ used the Supreme Court's emergency shadow docket. Since January 2025, the administration has aggressively used this process to bypass lower courts and fast-track its agenda. In just 20 weeks, the DOJ filed 19 emergency requests, matching the total from the entire previous administration. The Supreme Court often granted these requests with unsigned, unexplained orders, letting controversial policies take effect immediately. This lack of transparency left the public and lower courts in the dark, fundamentally changing the court's role from a deliberative body to a rapid response arm of the executive. The shadow docket became a tool for speed and power, sidelining the careful process that defines the rule of law. The Trump administration's legal blitz reshaped immigration, education, and the military. In immigration, the DOJ tried to deport long-term residents to dangerous countries, even as lower courts blocked the moves for violating due process. The Supreme Court's shadow docket allowed these policies to proceed, putting families at risk. In education, the administration moved to dismantle the Department of Education and fire thousands, again using emergency appeals to bypass judicial scrutiny. The military saw a ban on transgender service members reinstated, despite lower court rulings calling it discriminatory. Each time, the Supreme Court's unexplained orders had immediate, life-altering consequences. The lack of reasoning let the administration claim broad victories, even when the legal basis was shaky. These decisions weren't just legal abstractions, they upended lives and set dangerous precedents. The shadow docket's real-world impact was profound and often irreversible. The Supreme Court's use of the shadow docket sparked fierce debate among the justices themselves, igniting passionate arguments on both sides. Justice Kagan warned that issuing major rulings without explanation eroded public trust and risked arbitrary power, undermining the court's credibility. She argued the court was making policy, not just applying law, and that this shift could have lasting consequences. Justice Kavanaugh defended the practice, saying snap decisions shouldn't lock in the court's views before full arguments could be heard. But dissenters pointed out that for those deported or banned from service, these orders were final and devastating, leaving no room for appeal. The majority's silence in the face of these concerns only deepened the rift between the justices. The court was split, not just on the law, but on its own legitimacy and sense of responsibility to the nation. The war of words revealed a judiciary struggling with its role in a time of intense political pressure and public scrutiny. Even as the Department of Justice celebrated a string of Supreme Court victories, a troubling trend was unfolding behind the scenes. Its most experienced and respected lawyers were leaving in unprecedented numbers, raising alarm bells throughout the legal community. The office of the Solicitor General, long regarded as the DOJ's intellectual powerhouse and a bastion of legal independence, has been hit especially hard. Since January 2025, more than half of its frontline attorneys have departed, leaving behind a void of expertise and institutional memory that will be difficult to fill. The retirement of Edwin Needler, who served the department for an extraordinary 46 years, became a symbol of this exodus. His departure marked the end of an era and sent a clear message about the shifting culture within the DOJ. Many observers and former DOJ officials believe these departures are rooted in the department's increasing politicization. Attorneys now face mounting pressure to advance aggressive, often partisan legal arguments that conflict with their professional judgment. Career lawyers, once proud to serve as neutral arbiters of the law, now find themselves forced to defend policies they view as legally questionable or ethically troubling. This tension between duty and conscience has become impossible for many to ignore. The arrival of new leadership, closely aligned with the White House, has dramatically shifted the office's tone and priorities. Decisions once guided by legal merit are now increasingly shaped by political considerations. This ongoing brain drain threatens not only the DOJ's reputation for integrity, but also its historic role as a moderating force in American government. The loss of seasoned professionals undermines the department's ability to provide balanced, principled legal advice. As these experienced attorneys walk away, the department risks transforming from a guardian of the law into a mere political weapon, eroding public trust in its mission and its future. The exodus may be quiet, but it stands as a powerful protest, a warning sign that the Justice Department's very identity is at stake. The combination of an aggressive executive, a compliant Supreme Court, and a hollowed-out DOJ threatens the rule of law. The rule of law depends on checks and balances, especially an independent judiciary. The Trump administration's use of the shadow docket bypassed meaningful review, treating the law as an obstacle, not a constraint. When the Supreme Court enables this with unexplained orders, it signals that power, not principle, rules the day. The loss of experienced DOJ lawyers further weakens internal checks on executive overreach. As political loyalists replace career attorneys, the DOJ's role as a legal safeguard erodes. Public trust in the justice system falters when courts appear arbitrary, and the DOJ acts as the president's law firm. This erosion of faith is corrosive, undermining democracy and the norms that hold society together. America stands at a crossroads. The nation faces a pivotal moment, one that will determine not just the direction of its government, but the very nature of its democracy. The choices made in the coming months will echo for decades, shaping the freedoms and responsibilities of generations yet to come. The Supreme Court's recent pushback offers hope, signaling that the rule of law still has defenders at the highest level. Yet the challenges to our legal system and constitutional norms are far from over. Each decision the court makes now carries enormous weight, setting precedents that could either strengthen or weaken the foundations of American democracy. Upcoming cases on presidential power, campaign finance, and citizenship will test not only the court's independence, but also the resilience of the nation's democratic institutions. These cases are more than legal battles. They are defining moments that will reveal whether the system can withstand pressure and uphold its core values. If the court continues to side with maximal executive power, the structure of American government could be permanently altered. The balance between the branches of government, carefully designed by the founders, may shift in ways that are difficult to reverse, affecting every aspect of civic life. The court's willingness to explain its decisions openly, or to keep relying on the shadow docket, making major rulings without full transparency, will shape its legacy for years to come. Public trust in the judiciary depends on clarity, accountability, and a commitment to justice. For ordinary Americans, these legal battles are not abstract. They determine whether rights are protected, whether government power has limits, and whether every citizen can expect fair treatment under the law. The outcomes will touch lives in ways both visible and unseen. The erosion of due process and checks and balances affects everyone's liberty and security. When the guardrails of democracy are weakened, it is the people who feel the consequences most directly in their daily lives and in their sense of safety. Democracy depends on engaged citizens and institutions that defend the law between elections. It is not just about voting, but about vigilance, participation, and holding leaders accountable every day. The coming months are a stress test for the system. Its outcome will shape the nation for generations. The stakes could not be higher, and the world is watching to see how America responds to this moment of truth. The road ahead is uncertain, and the choices made now will define America's future. In this moment, the courage to defend democracy and the rule of law will determine the legacy we leave behind.